So, in the beginning of the story, we see a fisherman who catches fish and throws his fishing net into the sea. He had done this many times before, but today, I don't know what happened, his net got stuck somewhere in the sea. To get it out, he jumped into the sea, but he couldn't come back because a very large group of fish had surrounded him. In Germany, we now see Charlie sitting in the lighthouse, who suddenly receives a wrong signal from the sea and goes into the water with his companion, where he sees his marine tracker stuck in a fishing net. The scene cuts here and now shifts to Canada. Here, Leon, who does research on whale fish, has come to the shore of the sea because he has found a very large injured whale dead on the shore. According to the local fishermen, this whale tried to attack his boat, and in an attempt to save itself, the whale was injured. Again in Germany, we see Charlie, who is now putting a new marine tracker in the sea so that he can keep an eye on all the animals living there and gather information about them. Here in Canada, Leon traces the abnormal behavior of whales. He tells his friend, who used to poison the tourists and show them whales, about this. But now it was too late, that tourist boat had taken him to the middle of the sea. Leon also takes his boat to the middle of the sea and notices two whales. All the tourists were enjoying the whale jumps in front of them. But the next moment, the whale hit the boat in such a strange and forceful way that it broke into two parts, and all the tourists fell into the water. Leon, who had wanted to inform them about this from the beginning, quickly goes toward them and starts rescuing them. But in all this, he could not save his friend. The scene cuts here and now shifts to a French restaurant where seafood is being prepared. A chef tries to cut a crab very skillfully. Then a strange white liquid bursts out of it and falls on his face. The chef washes his face and starts working again. He keeps working like this until the evening. But after the evening, his condition begins to deteriorate, and he eventually dies. The condition of the two other chefs working in the same hotel also deteriorates in a strange way, and they have to go to the ICU. No one knows what happened to them. Scientists collect samples from a ship from the seabed. These samples are of ice worms, insects that live in the ice. These insects had never been seen before. When these insects are examined in the lab, it is found that they have jaws and the ability to produce many more offspring than ordinary insects. Here we see that Leon has met a fisherman who himself had seen the incident of a whale attacking a boat. Leon tells the police that not only that boat, but he had seen many such incidents the other day in which many big whales were attacking boats. Hearing this, Leon goes out and sees the ship that had been sent to the sea for research. This time, some strange things are stuck to the bottom of the ship that have never been seen before. Leon sends them for research. And here, another ship is also sent into the middle of the sea, through which a sampler is sent to the shore, where the same strange worms are being found, on which they are conducting research. But they are not able to collect the sample because of the damage to the ship. There was a very bad explosion. The people on the ship survive, but now they are very scared. Here in the lab, scientists have concluded through research on the previously caught worms that there are some bacteria in these worms that consume ice. By eating such ice, these individuals can go into the sea many times. Now, in Germany, where Charlie was already at the lighthouse, we noticed many alerts in the lighthouse, which scared Charlie as well. Before he did anything, he showed us a strange whirlwind in the sea that took a floating boat inside itself. Immediately after this, we were shown a city where two people stood on a bridge talking to each other. The girl picked up the book from her friend's hand and dropped it into the water. As soon as the book fell into the water, these people saw a strange and unusual scene. At the same time, thousands of jellyfish appeared on the surface of the sea. Here in the science lab, scientists were now researching the bacteria they had found on the chef's body, specifically the liquid that came out of the crab and fell on his face. A surprising discovery they made was that after the chef's accident, many people who visited the restaurant either died or became seriously ill. At this point, we see that Leon has also come to ask for permission from the scientist. He wanted to conduct an autopsy of that whale to examine how environmental pollution and air contamination were affecting its behavior and causing it to attack people. Obviously, Leon couldn't derive much information from the whale itself, but he obtained a strange substance from the whale's brain, which he sent to the lab for research. The scientists then discovered that a man had died in an unusual manner at a petrol pump. His sudden death troubled everyone. During the investigation, it was found that he was also infected with the same bacteria that the chef had. Following his death, the scientist researched and realized that this bacteria was now spreading through the restaurant's water supply system. Here, Leon also discovered that whales had attacked ships in many parts of the world, or in many different areas of the sea. This was shocking to him. Leon connected all the locations marked on the map with a line, and when he became a patron, he guessed that these whales were migrating. While migrating, they exhibited strange behaviors. Leon didn't want to waste time understanding the reasons behind these occurrences, so he jumped into the water with a camera. His mission was to attach a camera to the sleeping whales in the depths of the sea, which he succeeded in doing. Meanwhile, we find out that the people of Japan also discovered similar bacteria and worms on the sea's surface that Leon's team was investigating. However, they didn't inform the world about it. Leon's team observed through the camera placed on Leon's whale that an oil company had made a huge hole in the sea's depths. They intended to extract oil from there, but in doing so, they damaged the sea's surface. There was another strange incident in the morning. A large number of crabs were found on the shores of the sea in many parts of the world. Many of these crabs were brought to the laboratory for testing. The same bacteria that infected the chef were present in the crabs. The team tested the bacteria and learned that these bacteria absorbed blood cells the fastest. In Germany, at a lighthouse, Charlie recorded strange sounds coming from the sea and sent them to the laboratory for testing. However, the officials didn't pay much attention to these sounds, dismissing them as random noise. But when the scientist received more reports of such sounds, he sent research equipment and a whole team to Charlie. Before these people could commence their investigation, they received an emergency message to evacuate the area immediately because a terrible tsunami was approaching. It didn't take a minute to stop. These people quickly got out of here in a helicopter with Charlie. Then, on the other side, we are shown a press conference in which people are being informed about the bacteria that was found in the sea. It was spreading through the water supply. This bacteria also has the ability to kill humans by infecting them. This is what Leon tells all the fishermen present. He says, "Leave the sea as soon as possible. The bacteria in the sea is killing humans." But the fishermen refused to listen to him, saying, "We have always lived in the sea. This coast is our world. We will not go to the ground." After all this, we are shown a meeting of scientists where many scientists were researching this issue. They were wondering how it could happen that suddenly a bacteria is born and spreads so quickly. Some scientists believed that this bacteria was deliberately spread by someone else, while others were not ready to accept this. Anyway, after this meeting, these people meet government officials and inform them that a bacteria born in the sea has affected the entire marine life, attacking all the animals that live in the sea. The animals are not dying from this, but when those same animals eat humans, the bacteria starts infecting them as well. All the government officials do not seem to be very concerned, telling the scientists that they were hired to find solutions to the problem, not to report the problems. After this, these people meet a prominent scientist in the world. This scientist reads their entire report and listens carefully to the recordings included in it. He tells them that these recordings are not ordinary noise. He believes that all these voices are coming from a world about which we do not know. Hearing this, the other scientists are also surprised. Then the scientist mentions that his own team had captured similar signals in the entire Arctic. In addition to this scientist, a Japanese official also carefully reads their report. Even after knowing all this, he feels that those voices are not ordinary sounds, rather, they pose a significant threat to the world. He tells everyone that this scientist's experiment could save the world from a major danger. All the scientists were sitting in a meeting discussing what the outcomes of these voices could be, what dangers they might face, and how they could be saved. Whatever the scientist had to do, he needed to go to the Arctic Ocean. That's why everyone meets their families for the last time and begins their journey. According to the scientists' calculations, most of the bacteria are in a valley in Antarctica, and it is possible that all these organisms and bacteria have been living there for thousands of years without anyone knowing about them. These people had already set off on their journey. Everyone was on a ship, and everyone was performing their duties well. A reporter was also present on their ship, interviewing everyone. Suddenly, the ship passes through a place where all the signals inside it are interrupted for a minute. As soon as this happens, all the scientists become alert. They know they are about to receive a signal that may have been sent by the mysterious organism they want to research. Finally, they receive some signals from the ocean floor, which the scientists record as the cries of a child and send those signals back to the Earth's surface. The purpose of this was to determine if there is a species on the ocean floor that wants to communicate with them or if there is another world living there from which the inhabitants could make contact. They could not rely solely on the signals. Charlie and Inga go to investigate the ocean floor by sitting in an organic water capsule. As soon as they arrive, something strange happens. Their connection with the boat starts to fade, and their oxygen levels drop significantly. In their capsule, unusual functions begin. Charlie, along with Poland, tries to take the capsule back up, but Charlie does not want this. She turns off the lights in her capsule and sees something shining nearby. After that, they return to the boat with their capsule. A small compartment opens beneath the boat, and the capsule comes inside. When they descend, everyone asks what they saw below. Charlie's companion says he did not see anything, while Charlie says she observed a lot of shining light beneath. Now the group is receiving more signals from the ocean's depths, which is a response to the cries they recorded. It was clear that if there were any creatures or species below, they had started communicating with them. The returning signal also contained the crying voices of children, but there were significant changes in them. According to the scientists, this indicates that the bacteria are able to understand humans, and by altering the signals, they have transmitted this message to them. The scene shifts to inside the ship, where Charlie's water capsule is located within a pool. At the same time, she, as a journalist, is recording everything. Suddenly, she sees a lot of light in the pool and then falls in. As soon as the scientists see this, they immediately rescue her. In subsequent tests, it is found that she has also become infected with the same bacteria. When this happens, all the ship's signals are interrupted once again. After these signals are disrupted, they receive a message from the species and bacteria living in the sea. According to the scientists, this message did not originate from the depths of the ocean, but from inside the ship. Here, the scientists were also busy treating the girl. They were now taking out the fluid from the girl's spinal cord and testing it. After testing, they found that the fluid from her spinal cord had become exactly the same as the fluid found in the animals living in the sea. Clearly, it meant that those bacteria had changed the fluid in her spinal cord very quickly. After hearing this from the doctor, Charlie told them the truth. He informed them that in the water capsule through which he had gone down to the sea, he had seen a lot of light. It was possible that these were the same bacteria that had entered his ship through the water capsule, which Charlie had been denying. At this time, he received another signal from sea level. This was an audio footage showing a very large part of the sea and some humans. While everyone was busy looking at those signals, Charlie was standing near the pool. In the pool, many lights were now visible to Charlie. All those lights together were forming strange shapes. At this point, the Japanese officials who had given them permission to conduct this research also came to their boat via helicopter. They observed all the work done by the scientists and tried to understand the situation. The scientists had formulated a theory based on their findings. According to this theory, all those bacteria living underground are actually a community. They are a species that has been living here at sea level for thousands of years. They don't want pollution to spread in the sea and spoil it. The only purpose of these bacteria in the sea is to keep it clean and empty for themselves, not to allow pollution. But how could a person give all his water resources to another species? The Japanese president also asked this question. The scientists then responded that this species had been answering their signals for a long time. It meant that they wanted to talk to us and understand what we were saying. It was possible that they would make some kind of agreement with them to find a solution to all the problems. Now, these people were saying that another scientist was creating a chemical that could kill these bacteria. They could have released this chemical into the entire sea, but their lead scientist forbade them from doing so. It was not even appropriate to put this chemical in the ship's port. Nevertheless, most people decided to proceed with the experiment. All the people stood near the ship's pool, and then the chemical was added to that pool. As soon as they did, a strange explosion occurred in the water. A loud scream was heard, causing all the glass objects on the ship to shatter. All the functions of the ship ceased to work, including the machinery. Consequently, they became stranded at sea. They wanted to escape as soon as possible, but then they noticed that oddly, the ice present in their aid was moving very close to their ship and capturing it. When they went outside to sea, they noticed a blue light beneath their ship, which was pulling it and taking it somewhere else. The captain of the ship is afraid to turn on the ship's engine. But the engine is not starting. They understood that when humans first polluted the water, these species only warned them that they should not do this. But now, when these scientists deliberately tried to kill those species, they were going to take revenge on them. The glow in the water is from the species that these scientists had named R, which was now taking the ship away from human control. Here, the Japanese president asks the head scientist why they can't put that chemical in the whole sea so that this species dies. The scientists respond that even if all the manufacturing companies in the world start making that chemical, still not enough can be produced to kill the R species in the sea. They now had only one solution to save humans, that these people start listening to the species R. Charlie quickly brings the body of the journalist who had been infected by this R species. They throw this body into the water to signal to the species that they are ready to listen to everything because the signals inside the ship were not working. Through the water capsule, into which they were sending the journalist, Charlie himself sits in the water capsule and then injects a liquid into his heart, which was made from the infection spread by the liquid in the species. After doing this, he opens the door of his capsule. He does not know what will happen to him now. As soon as he opens the door, he begins to float in the water. On the other hand, these species leave their boat. Around the boat, all the ice particles are removed. We see Charlie in the sea, covered by lights as if they are taking care of him. In the next scene, Charlie is shown on the shore of the sea. He is still alive. When he opens his eyes, they shine like those of the same species. This means that Charlie has succeeded in his goal. He has befriended the species. This series ends here.